Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So George R. R. Martin did this mega post last night explaining that Winds of Winter is going to be delayed. He didn't say when it's going to drop, he just said that it's not going to drop in time for Game of Thrones Season 6. So here's an explainer for what's going on. I know it's a total bummer we won't be able to read Winds of Winter before Season 6 starts, but there is a new round of the giveaway, so maybe that'll help a little bit. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. It's just a $20 Amazon gift card. So here's the deal. Based on what Martin said, it sounds like the original plan was for him to turn in his final draft of Winds of Winter to his publisher by the end of October. That would give them time to publish it by sometime in March before Season 6 started in April, and everybody'd be happy. That'd be about a 5-month turnaround, so keep that number in mind. About 5 months between the time he turns in his final draft and the time that they can ship the book. Throughout the course of the year, though, he kept running into real-world things that took him away. Like he had to travel a couple different places, chapters took longer to complete, and he just didn't finish in time. It's a huge book, it's going to take him a little bit more time to finish. That's actually a pretty normal thing in the world of publishing. If you guys read comic books, Marvel has this big Secret Wars series. They've had to delay the last couple of issues, and it's just a comic book that's not even like 60 pages long. So I feel like this delay is more of a WTF for people that have started reading the books since the show started. If you've been reading the books since Martin first started publishing them back in the late 80s, then you know all about delays. It took forever for him to complete Dance with Dragons. When he first had the idea for Game of Thrones, like before he ever started writing the books, it was only supposed to be a trilogy, but then it started to get bigger and bigger, so he added a couple more books, and then even before the show had started in 2011, it had turned into 7 books. So, obviously we're on book 6 right now, so it's still going to take him a couple more years before Dream of Spring comes out. So at this point, it's a foregone conclusion that Game of Thrones is going to end its run well before he finishes his last book. So, big WTF question. Does that mean that the TV show is going to spoil the books? And I'll say not necessarily, but yeah, probably for a few things. Martin as well as Dan and Dave have both said that the show and the books are starting to diverge. They're doing very different things even though they're headed in the same direction. So I think essentially they'll end in the same place, but you'll see a lot of different characters making it to the finish line. I'm going to speculate just a little bit on where the plot's going, so I'll say spoiler warning for everything that's already happened on the TV show, and maybe spoilers for things that might happen in the future. Like, I'm just going to speculate about a couple of the characters, but just to be clear, this is speculation. I haven't seen any Season 6 episodes yet. So in the mythical future, where Jon Snow and Daenerys end up facing off against the Night's King and the White Walkers, does that mean that we're going to see that on the TV show, like a couple years before George R. R. Martin writes it in his books? Probably, but that's really only the smallest part of a very, very big story with a giant cast of characters. So it'd be like if you went into Star Wars The Force Awakens and you jumped ahead and you saw the very end of the movie and you felt like that ruined the entire thing. Like the movie itself, like Star Wars The Force Awakens, is a great movie. It's a lot of fun. There are a lot of characters. So it'd be like saying the entire story is crap and the only reason you go to see it is for like the last couple of minutes. So even if you do get spoiled by the TV show at like the very end in Season 8, the books are still going to be amazing. And there's always going to be like a giant portion of the population that just hates the show and just wants to read the books. Nothing is going to change for them. They were never going to care about the show anyway. And the people that only like the show and aren't ever going to read the books, it won't matter for them either. So really when you think about it, it's only a problem for like a very small portion of the population. And even if you guys have watched my last couple of Game of Thrones bonus videos, I've said that if you haven't started reading the books, it would actually be kind of confusing if you tried to read the books and watch Season 6 at the same time. So just wait till after Season 6, Episode 10 to start reading. So back to Winds of Winter. Remember that 5-month period between the time George R. R. Martin turns in his last draft and the day that they can ship the book. If Martin is able to finish his work on the book and turn it into his publisher by the start of Season 6, by sometime in April, then we'll probably see the book by early winter 2016 at the latest. Now that's if there aren't any other major delays, any unforeseen problems. But the other big thing I saw a bunch of you guys asking me on Twitter about was at the very end of Martin's post is he lists a bunch of characters that have gone down different ways in the show than they have in the books. Like, these characters are dead on the show, but they're alive in the books. Then he lists a whole bunch of other characters like Lady Stoneheart, young Griff, that the show has never done, just illustrating some of the huge differences between the books and the show. Some of you asked me if I thought it was a spoiler that he listed Myrcella and Stannis Baratheon, just reading into it that maybe he was saying that they're confirmed dead on the TV show. He didn't necessarily confirm they're dead on the TV show. HBO did release a book that had some language in it that made it sound like Stannis was definitely dead. Usually they make it a little more ambiguous till the start of the season. I never really thought that they were going to make it, so I did think that they were dead after the end of season 5. But that's not a confirmation or anything, that's just me reading into the story. The way I think about it, if there's a character that's going to be coming back into the story and taking this big leadership role, then what was Stannis going to be doing? He's not really a backseat character, so it's not like he's going to ride shotgun to another character who is rising up during season 6. So really from a story perspective, as well as a budget perspective, just from, practical concerns, it makes sense for the TV show to just get rid of the character, just sidestep any potential logic issues that they'll run into. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about George R. Martin's delay of Winds of Winter? Like, do you think it's totally normal, or are you really upset? It's totally okay to be upset with it, but I don't think it's going to ruin the story or anything. Like, it's not like Dan and Dave have read Winds of Winter and they did episodes based on that plot. Really, I think what's going on with Season 6 is they have an idea of where the characters are headed, and Season 6 is just their interpretation of that. But because the cast of characters in Winds of Winter is so different, the way that plays out is going to be a little bit different, even though it's headed in the same direction. So hopefully that explains what's going on a little bit. Books take forever to write. It's George R. Martin working with a couple people, but the TV show has a couple of different armies of people making it, so of course it's going to be happening faster. Congratulations to last week's giveaway winner, William Thornton. You win a $20 Amazon gift card. Be sure to private message me on the back end of my channel so I can get your contact info. What's going to happen next is, because we're into January, I probably have a little bit more time for Q&As, so I'll actually try and do a Game of Thrones Q&A in the next day or two. Whatever questions you guys have about the books or the TV show, just put them in the comments. Just in case you guys haven't seen it, HBO dropped this brand teaser that implies a few things about Season 6. You can click here for that, and you can click here for my top 10 crazy Star Wars Episode 7 theories. Thank you so much for watching. Everybody, let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.